Okay, for the folks at New Beginnings, what I've done is I sent you the wood that was the round pieces. You could do this on that. So, and I'll send up a pattern. Okay, so here's a pattern. This is what's called sorrel, and I'll send you some of that. You put it with the darker side down, put your pattern on top, and then you take like the end of a pencil. I have this particular tool. It's called a dotting tool or a stylus. But you can just take a pencil and draw over the lines, and what it does is make that so that you can, let me zoom in just a little bit. Okay, so you can see those lines on it. So you have a pattern, okay? So what I've got is a light and a dark green. These happen to be citrus and sap green. And then I've got a red and a yellow. I've got moon yellow and apple red. You could use, actually I think I'm going to use the daffodil yellow. Okay, and then I've got a brown. This happens to be burnt umber, but any brown will do. Okay, so we're going to do the leaves first. You always start in the background and work yourself forward. Okay. All right, and I'm just putting my paint out on this paper plate. It's not paper, it's actually got that wax coating. You don't want paper at all. So I'm going to put out, make sure you shake those colors good. And I'm going to put these fairly close because I'm going to do what's called double loading the brush. Okay, so that's all I'm going to put out right now. Alright, so I'm just using a square shader. So it's just a brush that's square. You see that on the edge, okay? Alright, always dampen your brush in the water first and blot it on a paper towel to get that moisture out of it, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the light green and I'm going to touch into that dark green and I'm going to work back and forth. So you see how I have both colors on there now. More of the lighter green, less of the darker green. Okay, you can see those on there. All right, I'm going to put the dark to the center, and I'm going to start with the leaf that's behind. I'm going to press and slide, press and slide, press and slide, and come off. I'm going to reload, grab a little bit more color, work it in that same area. And now I'm going to flip it over and put the dark to the center and do the same thing, but I'm going to push it this time and off to a chisel. Once again, and if you need to, you can kind of grab that dark, grab the light, and then work it in that area. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing on the next one. Dark to the center. Okay, just go back and grab a little bit there in the middle. And this is sorrel paper, and just with a damp brush, a clean damp brush, you can take, it's like chalk. It'll be removed when you touch it with a little bit of water. You can even use a Q-tip to take that off. Now, something I didn't do on these is if I have enough of the dark color, I can put the dark color at the end and I can pull in a vein. Okay, we're going to do it later with a liner, so don't worry about that now. Work that color in. Let's go find another large leaf. Got one here. Turn your color over so the dark is to the middle. The nice thing about the acrylics is one color generally will cover the next. So what I recommend is you watch this the first time, and then you come back and you try the strokes the next time you watch it, because it'll make more sense once you have it. So you can be watching this in your apartment, and then when you guys get together downstairs. Okay, you can do the strokes on your pieces that you've got there, whether it be on and you just use a smaller brush if it's a smaller piece. So for the bookmarks, you'd probably have to use like a size 4 or a size 6. I think this is a 10 that I'm using. Okay, now on these little leaves, I'm going to have the dark color on this side. It's going to be aiming towards where the stem is over here. And I'm just going to press and slide off. Press and slide off. I'm going to grab a little bit more color and work that in. Press and slide off. Have the point of the leaf facing towards you. Okay. And it would be easier if you had this sitting down on the table. I'm trying to keep it all within camera view, so I'm holding it. So you're not turning your brush on that stroke. You're just setting it down, press, and just slide off to that chisel. Now my original pattern had one that went off over here. I'll come back and see if I'm going to put one in there or not. Press and slide. You have to take your time when you're doing them. Don't hurry. I mean, you can see that even I am going slow. And I'm going to add a couple more out here to balance this design. Usually in odd numbers, so I'm going to do 3. Okay. Alright, I think I had, there was one off of this little flower here. I'll stick one in here. And let's go back over here. And we'll make one that's going off. That's fine. And let's add one here. Okay, so what I was saying about if you have a nice chisel edge that you can make the stems at the same time, watch this, okay? So I can take and pull a line with what's left on my brush into that. I'm going to get a little bit darker on there. So you don't have to have a liner brush. You can use what's left on your brush if you feel comfortable. Now, I would practice this on paper. And I hope you guys are having fun with the stuff that I've sent up. I just thought it would give you something to do with each other, even though we're practicing that social distancing. It's always nice to be around other people. And I want some pictures. I want you to send me some pictures on Facebook. You don't have to post them on Facebook, but you can message them to me. I know there's a couple of you that know how to do that. Or you can email them to me. And I'll put my email on there. It's Ceramics by Paula. B-Y, so CERAMICS BY PAULA @gmail. And I would love to see what you guys are creating. And I just sent up another box the other day, and I'm hoping you have it soon, hopefully before you have class. I think you're having class on, I'm rinsing my brush out. I think Mom said the 4th of June, Thursday maybe. So hopefully, and you all should have masks. I sent a bunch of masks that one of my teachers made. Margie made those for you. She is from Houston. And so she mailed them to me, and then I mailed them up to you guys. Okay, so you can see, look how much green I have left. So normally I don't put my paint back in my bottle, and I don't recommend that you guys do because you never know if your brush is contaminated. But I am going to put a little bit of this back because I'm the only one using out of my bottle. And you can do that with a, well, like I said, I don't want you guys doing it, but if you had your own bottles, you could use like a popsicle stick. Those are great tools, or a plastic knife. I'm going to leave a little bit of this out because I'm going to do some curly cues here at the end. Okay, done with those two. Now we're going to do the strawberry. And I'm teaching a webinar with my Fired product, and they're doing this pattern. So I thought it'd be fun to show it to you guys. Actually, I have another webinar in about 2 hours, so I'm trying to hurry and do this for you. All right, still use that same brush. It's damp. We're going to put both the yellow and the red. Let me show you. This is a glazed tile that I did. So it's been fired in the kiln, and it's the same pattern. So you can see. So now we're going to do the strawberry that has yellow in the middle, red on the outside. Okay. Same type of loading. And that color is a little thick. So you can use water. I'm going to add just a little bit of, I don't think I sent any of this to you guys. It's called floating medium. And I'm just going to dip my brush into it. And it's just like water. Just be careful and don't get too much water. So I'm just going to kind of work that yellow in, and then I'm going to go grab that red. Same kind of a thing. Okay. And the yellow is going to go to the middle. So here we go. We're going to press down to fan that brush out so that we get a nice big stroke. And then I'm going to grab both colors again, reload, make sure that yellow's in the middle. Okay. All right, we're going to let that dry. Once again, grab that yellow, grab some red, work it in, red to the outside, flip it over, because I felt like I had enough still left on there. Okay. We'll add another coat on that, so don't freak out that it's not covering. The more coats you put on, the more opaque or solid that area will be. Okay. Isn't that pretty? This is just a piece of wood that's kind of weathered, slatted, simulated. I got it at the same place that I got all your other wood stuff that I'm sending you. You have surprises coming this time. There's something new, and I'm going to do a painted version of them for you. So don't, I'm sure you guys can figure out how to paint them, but I thought I'd give you an example. I've just got this webinar today, and I don't have time to paint all those, but I did mail them. You should have them by Tuesday or Wednesday. Sorry, my phone is dinging and I did not mute it. Okay. Probably should let it dry just a little bit longer than what I am. I'm just trying to hurry. Get some of that off of there. Okay, so I am going to let that dry. I'm going to rinse my brush out. And I sent that water bowl that's blue up there for you. It has those little slats in the bottom. You see those? Yours is just a little square blue one. So drag it on the flat across that. Flip it over and do it again. And that's the best way to get some of that out of there for you. Okay. Just leave the brushes flat to dry. Don't stand them up, because if you stand them up, then the water runs back down in here and the wood handles will start to crack. The paint will peel off. The ferrule, the silver thing, gets loose. So keep them flat to dry. Okay. All right. Now we have our little petals. You know what? You need white also, because our flowers are white with a touch of yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, since my yellow is really thick, I'm going to put a drop of that in there, and I'm just going to take the handle and mix that up so it's ready. It's still pretty thick. Maybe a drop of water. Alright, so now I'm going to, I believe this is like a size 4 square shader, or flat it's called, okay? Alright, put some of that white right next to that yellow. Alright, we're going to do that same thing. Don't forget to wet your brush, blot it on the paper towel. And I'm going to get the white in the brush first. And then I'm just going to slide over here and just barely pick up some of that yellow. The yellow is going to be towards the center of our flower petals. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm just going to kind of wave that brush. Now, being a small brush, you're going to have to load it often. They just don't hold as much product because they're so small. So just tip in the, I think you can still see that. Tip in the white, tip in that yellow, and then blend it. Keep the white to the outside. Can you see that? Okay, so grab some white, grab some yellow, blend a couple of times, yellow to the middle. I'm just kind of waving, just kind of giving that wave motion. Okay, yellow to the middle. I'm going to go back over there and get a little bit more on that one. Pick up white, pick up yellow, blend, yellow to the middle. Okay. You could do this with any color little flowers. This just happens to be a strawberry blossom, and these are the colors of those. So if you just wanted to make a two-tone blue or purple or red, just have a light and a dark is all you need. Okay, a light and a dark color. You need contrast between the two. If they're real close in color, they're not going to show up as well. Oops, white, yellow, white to the outside. And I'd probably wait till you get all your coats on your berries before you did the ones next to the berries. It'll be easier for you guys. But you may have to go back over them. I may have to go back over mine. Who knows? Yellow to the middle. Even I have to talk to myself. And I like how much white was on that one, so I'm going to go back and do one of those other ones. Sorry, I'm talking low. Hopefully you can hear me. I will put words on the screen also when I get this video ready. So hopefully you can read. If you can't hear me, you can at least read it. Okay, let's put a little bit more white on this guy. I'm thinking this one over here needs some more. Okay. Rinse. Blot that out. Make sure you've got it nice and clean. You can take some mild hand soap, put a little dot of soap in your hand, and then work, dampen the brush, of course, work that back and forth like that in your hand, and you'll see color disperse out of it if it's still dirty. Okay, so that tells you you did not clean it well. You can take any brush to do this. You can even take that small square shader that you've got. I've got one that's called a stubby brush. They come in different sizes. And I don't remember if I sent one of those or not. So I'm going to take that, and I'll try to keep my hand back so you can, whoops, let's go this way. And you can kind of just stipple that, like you were stipple, 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 okay, for the middle of your berry, or excuse me, of the flower. Okay, then you're going to take a little tiny smidge of a brown, any kind of brown. You can even, it won't take much. I mean, that's like enough for 20 people. See, okay. So, and you're just going to kind of lightly stipple that. I call it, you just tickle the brush on the surface because you don't want a whole lot. Okay. Alright, so you can kind of see how those are two-toned. Alright, rinse that brush. Okay, so when I'm rinsing it, I'm coming over here to paper and I can still see yellow on the paper towel, so I know I don't have it clean. Of course, my water has got yellow in it too, but you should get to the point that you don't see anything. Okay. Alright, let's go back and do another coat on the berries real quick. Grab some of that red, blend. We're going to have seeds on there, so that's not going to show up as much. one more coat on this guy. All right. Now we're going to put the tops on the strawberries. And you can use a small liner, or I'm going to use a larger liner. And I think that Mom has a there's a couple of different sizes that I sent up there. Okay, so I'm just going to mix these two together to get kind of a medium green. Okay, so start in the middle, press, pull, and lift, press, pull, and lift, press, pull, and lift. If you feel like you need a little bit dark, grab some of that. You need 5 of these guys on there. I'll come back and put stems on the outline. Okay. Alright, I'm going to the smaller liner to do the outlining. Technically, you need black also. I forgot to put that out. Licorice or pure black, any of the blacks. Okay. You don't have to black outline. I tend to lean towards it, so I am going to thin this down with just water. Okay, I'm going to put that over to the side so that I can do this easily. Alright, so just come in and I'm going to give it just a nice. Then what I tend to do is outline on the side that's not dark, the side that has the light color on it. Some of the areas are still damp, so I'm working on what we painted first. Okay. Add a little bit more water. I tend to go do the same thing on the design all the way around, so I'm kind of in that rhythm or mode. That way it gets easier the more you do. Repetition is how we learn. Okay. Just constantly pick up more. Keep thinning it down if you need to. It should flow off your brush. If you're having to push real hard, then it's probably not thin enough, or you don't have enough on your brush. So even though those little squiggly strokes that we made on the leaf have the veining, you can go back and add the black lines and create that. Maybe yours doesn't have as much with that stroke. So this is a way to create those. Okay. Alright, let's go back over here on this side. So I'm being real loose with the outline. That way, if you get outside the line or off the top of the area that you painted, it's not as noticeable. Maybe you shake and you can't do a perfect, so you don't have to follow that exact line. If you do kind of this wiggly or nervous method, and then that way it's not as noticeable when you do get out of the line. That's what I tell my seniors. I say, that's why I did that, so that you didn't have to be perfect. Okay. Alright, so we've got all of those. So let's, we're going to give a little bit of an outline to that berry. Kind of come in and then come down. I'm also going to do one side and like a center vein on the tops to the berries. Those are called calyx. And I forgot to put in a stem here, so I'm going to just pull it in with black. I'll come back and do the seeds in a minute. Okay, so we're going to create a nervous little a wavy outline. And I'm just going to touch to give those stamens like some little pollen on the ends. Gives it a little more interest. So you don't have to be perfect. Short and long are better. You don't want them looking all the same. I need to turn this. Always turn it so it's comfortable for you to work. Don't try to like go over here like this. It's awkward and you're not going to do your best work. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. And then I like to kind of put some little tiny taps around and then maybe make one side heavier. You can even come in and do like another little C inside, and it gives it like a divot to make it look more dimensional. Alright, so let's go over here and do this guy. The acrylics dry pretty fast. You see how fast, I mean, I'm not drying this piece or anything. We're just letting it air dry as I'm working, and it's pretty fast. The ones that I sent up that say multi-surface paint, like this one, okay, Folk Art, those have a sealer in them, and so they'll tend to be a little glossy. The Doc Holiday ones are not. And the multi-surface you can put on any kind of surface. That's why it says multi-surface. It could be metal, plastic, wood, glass. You can do them on fabric, but there's another product that if you mix this textile medium with the colors, they will go on fabric and they are softer. Because if you don't, you end up getting this really, it's really hard and brittle, and it doesn't last long on the fabric. So I just got some of that in, so I'm gonna try some of that. There are fabric paints also, which I've done and I love, but if I could work with these and have more colors, that would be awesome. Okay, so we're gonna just keep doing all these. I'm gonna add some of those dots. And make that little C. I got a couple more flowers here. Well, I hope this helps you guys. You can apply these steps to a lot of different things. You can always block in your strawberries just red. You don't have to do the two-tone. You can always come back and add like a comma stroke of yellow on top of them. And I will show you that in just a minute. Let me finish. And I will send this up to Mom also, so that you have it. So down the center along one side. If you outline both of those, both sides of those tops, it's just too dark. Look what I did. So I'm going to take a damp brush and some water. Actually, I use spit and take that off. I'm sorry. Natural mother's reaction. We've cleaned a lot of faces with spit. Okay, center. Stem. All right, now we're going to do the seeds. So you have to put a little bit more black on your brush, so it needs to be a little bit heavier. Okay. And you're going to point towards the top of the berry, and you just sit and lift, sit and lift, sit and lift, sit and lift. You could even put just little dots. Whoops. This may not be the best brush. You might try a couple of different brushes on paper before you do these, just to see what you're more comfortable with. Okay, and I tend to put them just on the outside of the berry. You could put them all over. Everybody has a different taste, the way they like it. Okay. All right, so I also usually sign my name, and I usually hide it within a leaf or something. Okay, you could just put your initials. You need to sign your work. And don't tell me you're not going to. You really need to. Okay. And then I'm going to put the date over here. Now, that takes practice. Alright. Alright, now I'm going to do some curly cues. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Do some of this. Get some worked up and sitting there, and it's thin, so it's dried. I'm just grabbing a brush, a little water, and adding it. Okay. I think you can see that. Alright, so when you do the curls, you want to lift the brush when you, oh, I forgot a flower. Okay, I've got green in here right now, so I'm going to go with green. So when you get into the curve, this is one I showed the other day. So when you come in, you press down and you lift up when you curve, and then you can press down again and lift up, and press down again and lift up. So there's all kinds of ways to do that, but that gives you a little insight on how that works. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go back over here and get some. So if I want it to come off of here, I can just start curling. Curl, 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 and curl. And maybe I want this one to come this way. So what I'm doing is filling in my blank spaces. You see how that helps? And then I kind of look at the balance of it. While I've got that green, I am going to add that green stem off to one side just so I can see that, even though I put the black there. Whoops, too much. So I can come back and lift that off. Or I can take a small square shader and just shimmy that back into a thin line like I want it. Okay. Alright, now I need to outline that flower that I forgot. Okay. Alright, well hopefully this gives you some ideas with what you can do with those larger round pieces that I sent. And like I said, you can just do one berry and a couple of leaves, you know, on the bookmark if you like strawberries. You could do blueberries. Put a lighter blue and a darker blue on your brush and do those. Use the same kind of leaves. Alright, you guys, I hope you like this, and I can't wait to see some of your pieces. You need to send me some pictures. Alright, so let's zoom in and give you a close-up of that. Alright. Okay, guys, I don't like being on camera, haha, so I'm going to wave at you and say goodbye. See you later.